again. It's Bill, Bourbon Professor. So, Alan, the whiskey friend, just did his first bourbon review. So, and I've got a few scotches, so I thought I would get dressed up, and to show respect for him, I would do my first scotch review, which is, I picked Talisker 10. I picked Talisker 10 for two reasons. One, well, I like it, and to give another shout out to another guy who just did a video. It was I think the video was called Two Blokes and Pete. I think is what it was called. Dom Byard, B-Y-A-R-D. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. If I am, great. If I'm not, my apologies. Give both those guys a look. My guess is if you're looking at me, you probably already subscribed to one of those. Dom's really just getting started out. So, but I mean, so is the whiskey friend. So am I. Anyway, enough of that. Talisker 10. It's not an Isla whiskey, but it is an island whiskey. So it comes from the Isle of Skye. 10-year-old, peated. You know, I don't remember what it's presented at. Where's it at? 45.8. That's pretty good representation. And like I said, I don't pick out all the stuff that these real pros can, but with this you can smell the peat. I can smell the peat, and I'm arguably more of a bourbon drinker, but I do like peated whiskeys. So this is just as a side note, my first peated whiskey was, believe it or not, an Ardbeg 10. This is not Ardbeg 10. And side by side, you might miss the peat in this, but it's there. It's light. It's you know, when your kids get a new doll and you have to take it out of the box, it's like that new doll smell, which may seem sort of silly, but there's other stuff going on behind this. So I'm not going to get too in depth with this because one, I'm not that good at it, but it does got a pretty interesting nose on it. Let's go in for a taste. So right off the bat, you can kind of tell that it's not at 40%. What I say, 45.8, which is good. It gives this some depth, I think, that it probably needs. I'm not sure this would work real well at 40%, but the peat kind of lingers, but mingled in with that smoky peat, there's some sweetness that, you know, I mean, there's other guys that would pull out all manner of craziness. It's just it's hard to describe. Go in for another taste. It's the only thing you can do. You know, I hear guys like Ralphie mention barley sugar. I don't know what barley sugar is, but I wonder if that's not the sweetness, because it's sort of, to me, it's unlike other sweetness that I have encountered. And I cook, so it's not like all I do is go out to eat at drive-thrus, because I don't do that at all. So I'm going to give us just a little bit of water. And I've had a little bit of this. I think enough. I feel like I've had enough to give it a review. Obviously, you know, much respect for Roy. He finishes them before he gives a review, which is really the way to do it. Not one pour out of a neck and then decide whether or not you like it. Oh wow! So that kind of opened up the nose a little bit too. You see, I'm trying to do a little better job to show Alan respect, and Dom, because I think that was an awesome video. So, and like with Alan, he did a really good job doing that. What do you have? Elijah Craig barrel proof, which, you know, man, you probably ruined yourself by going to that. Anything lesser than that, you're probably going to want to not mess with. There's still the peat, but then a little more of the sweetness does come up on the nose. Some would say the light fruit and all that. You know, it's their sweetness. Kind of did the same thing for the taste. Maybe a little less peat on the front end. The peat kind of comes up in the middle, and then there's a little bit of it finishes with peat, just a tiny bit of smoke and sweetness, and it feels almost thick, adding that water to it. This is I really look forward to having a dram of this every now and then. This is not something, none of this stuff I drink all the time. Anytime I'm having a little taste, it's always something different. And I really look forward to this, but I mean, you know, I've got bourbon in my name, so I don't feel guilty about it, but I don't have that many videos to have to be doing a single malt or a scotch. I mean, there's American single malts, but even that's not bourbon, so I don't really feel guilty. It's just my stuff and my channel. I can do what I want, right? As long as you guys are enjoying it too. So, there was my shout out. The Whiskey Friend, thank you, Alan. And Dom Byard, I hope I'm saying that right. Go give those guys a look. Give them a sub. You know, what's it gonna hurt, right? I think they're doing fine. They're doing a fine job. And this is really a good whiskey. So you've had probably more review from me than you will normally get. So my thing is value. So Talisker 10, and I don't know what you guys over in the UK pay for it. You know, it's probably less over there than it is over here. So I'm quite sure I bought this on sale because I'm a sale guy when I can be. This was $52, which for bourbon, for some bourbons that could be kind of a lot, but for this, to me, this is a really good value. I don't, you know, I can't, like if you've seen the Jameson, you know, something that would be called a fantastic value has got to be a multitasker. I don't know that I would want to add anything other than a few drops of water to this. I mean, I can't imagine taking something that gives me this much of an experience drinking and putting it in soda or Coke or whatever. I just can't fathom doing that. I'm sure there's people that have, and if you have and you think that's good, you know, put a comment down, you know, put a note down there in the comments. I might give it a shot, but probably not with much of it because I like this stuff an awful lot, and I look forward to other peated stuff. I do have another, won't go there. So like I said, I've admitted I have an Ardbeg 10, more peat than this. So I really like this bottle. So I said earlier that it's not an Islay whiskey, it's an island whiskey from the Isle of Skye. And when I reached out to, actually I reached out to Roy from Aquaviti and asked him, is it because it was an island, is it considered an Islay? And he said no, that it's actually considered a Highland whiskey. I had a hard time finding that on the interweb. Maybe it's just because I can't find stuff on the interweb. Either way, so thank you for that, Roy, if you ever see this. 52 bucks. Yeah, you could say that's a lot of money, but for the experience that you can get drinking this, it is, I'm going to go with money well spent. Money very well spent. You know, if you've got somebody who's wanting to get into some Scotch whiskeys, you know, I don't know if this would be a good gift. You'd have to know whether or not they've had anything with peat. If all they've ever had is Glenlivet 12, could this be a step in the peated direction? It could be. It could be. Either way, you know, it's going to be kind of hard to go wrong with it. How much would I pay for this? You know, I would probably, I would hope I could, once this got low, I would start looking for it on sale again. But I would probably be willing to pay in the $60 range and not be unhappy with this quality of a bottle. But I didn't. I paid $52. At $52, I think it's a fantastic value. Or maybe not fantastic. It's a very good value, great value. Anyway, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me. Like I said, give them other guys a look. The Whiskey Friend and Don Byard. And until next time, cheers, and add water to your whiskey so you can stay hydrated. There's a tip for the day.